MS Ramaya University of Applied Sciences.
Hi students, the objective of this lab session is to study frequency shift keying. The theoretical concepts have already been explained during the hardware implementation. Let us try to simulate a frequency shift keying system digital modulation technique using Matlab. As it is known, a FSK, that is frequency shift keying system, modulates digital signals wherein bit 1 is represented by a sinusoid with a defined frequency and bit 0 is represented by another sinusoid of defined frequency. The Matlab code is developed. As an initial step, the workspace, command window and unnecessary figures are closed. The user is asked to enter the carrier frequency for the carrier signals, that is sinusoid, one for modulation of binary 1 and the other for binary 0. The frequency for the input pulse is also entered. The amplitude for the carrier and pulse data can also be entered. These steps initialize the input data. The time axis is now initialized with a time step of 0.001 for 1 second data. The carrier signals are generated with the user-defined amplitude and frequency. Plot the developed carrier waves. A square wave is generated with a set frequency and amplitude. This step generates a pulse for the input data. The generated signals are checked for binary 1 and binary 0. If the data is 1, then the output is represented by a carrier signal of frequency F1. Else, if 0, the output is represented by a carrier signal of frequency F2. The carrier signal is now plotted using plot command and labeled accordingly. The Matlab simulation result is shown depicting the input carrier sinusoid followed by the input pulse information and finally the frequency shift keying data. The code is written on Matlab editor and is as shown. Here, the lab codes are written and saved. The carrier frequency can be assigned through the input command followed by the input data frequency. The amplitude may also be changed. The carrier is generated using a sine command. Followed by a square wave as input data. The generation of FSK is carried out by multiplying the carrier and input data. Click on the Run button to run the code. The simulation code represents for a carrier and input data frequency. The data is entered. The simulation plots the FSK waveform. The FSK generation can be carried out by varying the input data such as frequency and amplitude. This completes the simulation of FSK. Thank you.
At MSR, you mark your imagination.